And we're back with some more New York Rangers franchise mode in FHM 11. And in this one, we have the rest of the offseason of year number 6, I believe it is, as we did go through most of the offseason in the last one. However, there's one more move I want to make, and it involves sending Aaron Sawatsky in a trade. Of course, in the last one, we acquired him in a trade for Morgan Geekie, who the St. Louis Blues just offered him straight up for Morgan Geekie. So there's no way I was going to say no to that with his 4.5-star potential. But the unfortunate thing about Sawatsky is that he has a personality trait that I do not like. So we're going to be sending him in a trade to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for a player that is on their trade block, Tom Willander, the 4-star ability right-handed defenseman. He is a shutdown defenseman, 20 checking rating, pretty good physical category, pretty good mentally, and even offensive category for being a primarily defensive defenseman is pretty good. As we take a look at his career stats, 50 points last year in 82 games played, a 65 grade, 103 hits, 154 shots blocked, so he is a beast, and we're going to be getting him here. So Willander, get on there, and obviously we're going to have to include more here. So what we are going to include is a first-round pick for the upcoming draft in 2031, top 10 protected, a third, a fifth, and a seventh. Yep, I mean, that's a lot of draft picks, and that is a 4.5-star potential player going the other way, but you know what? I think it is well worth it for a 25-year-old 4-star ability defenseman who can really bolster our defensive core. So offer trade, and we'll see what they say. And the Vancouver Canucks have accepted our trade offer of Aaron Sawatsky, a first, a third, a fifth, and a seventh for Tom Willander. Complete trade. There it is. That is a big trade for your New York Rangers. And now look at our defensive core: Fox, Willander, Bachfest, Matachuk, O'Rourke, Väisänen, and Miller. That is looking phenomenal. Of course, however, we are slightly above the salary cap ceiling, so we might have to get rid of Miller regardless, because he, as our 7th defenseman, is making over $7 million. And then we could probably sign LeBray as a backup defenseman. Yeah, he doesn't want too much. So let's get him for 1.4 for 3 years. And then I'll see what we can get from Miller. Oh, wow. That's more than I was expecting. We're getting some offers that involve fourths here. May as well send him to a team that needs defensemen. Let's send him to Columbus. They're offering a 4th, accept offer. There you go. So, okay, Andre Miller, thank you for your service, but we do have to clear up some cap here. And there you go. Dylan LeBray has signed with your New York Rangers, so he will be our backup defenseman going into next season. And our revamped defensive core is looking pretty good now. So I think with that being said, we will advance to the Hall of Fame inductions and then get to the start of year number 7. And inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame this year are Jonathan Quick, Steve Larmer, Nicholas Backstrom, and Theo Fleury. We are going to need a new alternate captain here. We currently have Fox as the captain, Hedel as the alternate, but we do need a second alternate now. So I'm going to say that'll be Nadeau. And we have finished the preseason, so this is our lineup heading into the regular season of year number 7. You have Luukkonen and Boyko in goal. On defense, you have Fox, Willander, Bachfest, Matachuk, O'Rourke, Väisänen, and LeBray. And at forward, you have Nadeau, Artamanov, Ratcliffe, Hedel, Ryabkin, Kakko, Tomek, Sardarian, Suoniemi, Yeko, Ovchinnikov, Urtel, Fiala, and Marinochkin. All right, after 2 months, we are 14-9-3, good enough for 31 points, and somehow second in the division. So we're in a pretty good spot here, but there are a few things that have me a bit worried. But first, we're going to check out the team stats. Goals for per game is at a 3.73, 6th in the league. And goals against per game, we are currently 22nd in the league with a 3.42. So goaltending might be an issue. Faceoffs, 53.1, second in the league. Good to see that. Power play, we are 5th in the league with a 25%. And penalty kill, we are 18th in the league with an 81.3. Now let's take a look at the player stats. In goal, you have an 896 for Boyko in 20 games played, and an 883 for Luukkonen in 9 games played. Yikes. I guess that's just how it goes in this game, huh? Defensemen, you have Fox with 20 points, Willander and Bachfest with 14 points each, Matachuk with 8, LeBray with 7, Väisänen with 5, and O'Rourke with 1. At forward, you have Nadeau with 31 points, Artamanov with 27, Tomek with 25, Ratcliffe with 19, Hedel with 19 as well, Kakko with 15, Ryabkin with 13, Marinochkin with 12, Sardarian with 10, Fiala with 9, Yeko with 7, 3 for Urtel, 2 for Suoniemi, and Ovchinnikov. So the problem, once again, unfortunately appears to be pointing to goaltending. All right, to address the goalie situation, we're going to be trading for Jacob Fowler, who is on the trade block for Seattle. He is a 2.5-star ability, 3.5-star potential at 26 years of age. He's not too impressive, but to be honest, I'm willing to try just about anything at this point when it comes to goaltending. So we're going to send them Kevin Alexanderson, who is a half-star ability goaltender, 20 years of age, and they will accept that offer more than likely. And there it is. The Seattle Kraken have officially accepted our offer of the rights to Kevin Alexanderson in exchange for Jacob Fowler, complete trade. Now I think for the time being, we're probably going to have to send Luukkonen down because as good as he was last season and the year before, he is just not doing it right now. So Luukkonen go to Hartford, and hopefully he clears waivers, and we will see what Fowler can do replacing him. Ooh, first major injury of the year. Ratcliffe injured 1 to 2 months with a fractured wrist. Now, the thing about Ratcliffe is that he has not been anywhere near as productive in terms of goal scoring this year as he was last year. He had 47 last year. This year, only 7 in 26 games played. Although Nikita Artamonov is filling that void this year, as he currently has 17 and 27. Last year had 19 total, so he is well on his way to 40 goals once again. And I think with that, we will continue the simulation. Okay, what's going on? Stop the simulation. Stop the simulation. We've been losing way too much lately. We had a 5-4 win against Ottawa to start December, but that was our last win. We've been on a 4-game losing streak of late. Thankfully, it looks like Fowler's doing a pretty good job so far. 910 save percentage in 3 games played, so hopefully he keeps that up. But something is going on here in New York, and I do not like it. Defensively, I'm liking the majority of our defensive core besides Lebre, who, I mean, he should be our backup defenseman, but I guess coach, for whatever reason, likes him over Väisänen. Is it because he's a right D? That's probably it. I wish Willander would switch back to right D because he's a righty, and he's playing with Fox, I think, who is also a righty. Yeah, I wish Boucher would use Willander on the right. I think we're just going to have to advance here because there's nothing else that I'm really seeing on the trade block. Let's check the team stats. I mean, we're scoring goals, 3.55 goals for per game, 10th in the league. But goals against per game, 26th in the league. Yeah, it really just comes down to goaltending, doesn't it? Yeah, and it's not like I would do anything differently with the defensive. Like, our defensive core is, or should be, very good anyway, with the defensive grades of most of our guys being at least 60, if not in the 70s. Then you have Artamonov, who's a point per game player. Nadeau is a point per game player. Tomek is close to a point per game player, and most of our forwards in general have been pretty good. Although I think I would like to get one bottom 6 winger, maybe to replace Ovchinnikov. He hasn't been too good as of late. I'm thinking I would like to try to acquire William Moore on Tampa. In 29 games played, he had 14 points so far, 62 grade, 16 for faceoffs, so he's pretty good at faceoffs. Great passer, great offensive read, fantastic speed and agility. So maybe not a defensive forward, but a very fast forward nonetheless, who could probably help out. Oh, wow. William Moore is commanding a lot more trade value than I expected him to. It takes Suoniemi, the rights to Venberg, 2 firsts and a second. That's not worth it. Oh, geez. The funny thing about Moore is that he's actually a part of the Barclay Goudreau trade tree. So we traded Goudreau to the Kings and in return got a 4th round pick, which ended up being Moore, but we didn't make that pick, because we traded that pick to the Lightning along with the rights to Bobby Trevino in exchange for Darren Radish, I believe it is. And he was actually projected to be picked at number 9, but he didn't go until 126 in the 4th round, picked by Tampa. And yeah, I guess he proved to be a steal for them for sure. And he actually didn't even make his NHL debut until last season as well. So I suppose Tampa thinks highly of him. And I guess it makes sense they don't want to give him up too easily since they're in a rebuild. Still though, he would have been perfect. And we're going to be making yet another trade here. We have Samuel Fiala going to the St. Louis Blues. He has 12 points in 30 games played so far this year, 52 grade, 20 hits. He's decent for his price, but we need to really make some improvements here. So we are going to be getting Jordan Kyrou, the 32-year-old. He is an 18 for the counter-attacking forward role. Great puck handle, great offensive category in general, great physical ratings as well, solid mental ratings as well. The only category that isn't quite up to par is defensive ratings, but I'm sure he'll be good at an offensive role. So the full offer is Fiala and 2 firsts, one for 2032, the next for 2033, in return for Kyrou at 50% of his salary retained and a first for this year. So let's offer trade it and see what they say. And the St. Louis Blues have accepted our offer of Samuel Fiala and 2 first-round picks for Jordan Kyrou at 50% of his salary retained and a first-round pick. Complete trade. So there you go, Jordan Kyrou, the newest member of your New York Rangers, and he's currently on the 4th line, but I'm sure coach will come to his senses and put him at the very least on the 3rd line. It really does just come down to goaltending, doesn't it? We've been struggling so much keeping the puck out of the net lately. Let's see, game against Tampa, 5-0. Of course, as soon as I say that, we get a shutout. I don't like it, man. I do not like it. Stop the simulation. Let's see. In goal, Boyko with a 902 save percentage, so he's been doing decently at least. Fowler's been doing just as terrible as Luukkonen was, so Boyko or bust at this point. Scoring wise, I mean, we look like we're scoring. You got Nadeau and Artamanov, basically a point per game players. Fox 34, Tomek 32, 26 for Sadarian and Kyrou. Kyrou has 5 points with us. Hedel with 24, 22 for Ryabkin, Marinochkin, and Bakvist. 21 for Willander and Kako, 19 for Ratcliffe in 26 games played. He's a week or two away from returning. Matachuk with 17, Vaisinen with 11, 9 for Lebre, Yeko, and Ovchinnikov, 6 for Suoniemi and O'Rourke, and then 5 for Ertel. Now let's see team stats. Goals for per game, 13th in the league with a 3.33. Goals against per game, we're 22nd with a 3.39. It's gotten a little bit better. Faceoffs were 5th with a 51.9. Power play, we are 13th in the league with a 21.2. And penalty kill, we are 14th in the league with an 81%. So the goaltender carousel continues to rotate as we send the rights to Scott Powell and a 6th round pick for this draft. Scott Powell, nothing special at a half-star ability, 1-star potential. In exchange for Kirill Gerasimiuk, a 2-star ability, 2.5-star potential. He's on Calgary's trade block. So I figure may as well take a chance, offer trade. We'll see what they say. And you know what? Honestly, at this point, I'm considering firing Scott Clemmensen. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to take a look in the staff free agency for a new goaltender coach because, yeah, this is getting absurd. I think Wade Flaherty is going to be our guy. He's got the 20 coaching goalies, 17 coaching prospects, 14 player management, 14 motivation, 13 discipline, and 14 tactics. So let's get him on board. There you go. And we will assign him as the new goaltender coach. Oh, and I just realized we actually have Guy Boucher acting as our offensive coach as well. I guess our former offensive coach must have retired and I just didn't notice. Let's look for a new offensive coach as well. I think that's going to be Jared Bednar. I mean, I know he's a head coach, so he'll probably cost a lot more. Yeah, he's going to cost $2.5 million. But you know what? We can afford it, so let's do it. And the Calgary Flames have accepted our offer of a 6th round pick and the rights to Scott Powell in exchange for Kirill Gerasimiuk. Complete trade. And we will send Fowler down. And hope that Gerasimiuk works out instead. All right, Jacob Fowler claimed by the St. Louis Blues. Whatever. Ooh, we are sliding. Yep, we're sliding big time. Okay, stop the sim. Stop the sim. This is getting ridiculous. What is going on? What is going on with this team, man? I'm so frustrated. Gerasimiuk in 13 minutes played has 0 goals against, so good for you. Boyko and 42 games played has an 896. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with this team, but I feel like we should be pretty good on paper anyway. We should be pretty good, right? It's just that this is such a stark contrast from what happened in the playoffs last year. Like we pushed not only Philly, but New Jersey as well, both to game 7s, and we passed Philly. And that was with Ratcliffe injured, in addition to Fox, Bakvist, Artamanov, and who was it? Yeko as well. So Ratcliffe being the only one out right now really is no excuse for this horrid performance we've been putting up as of late. I mean, we go back to December, we start out with a win, but then a loss, win, loss, win. Pretty ugly month. Then you have January, start out with a win, but then loss, win, loss. That is so bad. Oh man. Only 2 wins this month so far, and it's basically already over. Just one more game against Winnipeg. Yeah, this team is sliding big time. We may very well have to consider firing Guy Boucher if this keeps going on for much longer, because this is not going as expected. Maybe we just call up Luukkonen again, but the thing about Luukkonen is he has not even been doing well in the AHL. He has an 892 save percentage in 19 games played in the AHL. Not even he's been winning down there. Is it bad that I'm considering Shesterkin right now? I mean, we could just retain half his cap hit, and it's only for 2 more years, so it wouldn't be that bad, especially with how he's performing right now in LA. And right when we thought we finally found our guy in UPL, he had to go and have a 883 to start out this season, which was bad enough to get him sent to Hartford. Then we have the goaltending carousel, including Boyko, Gerasimiuk, and what was his name? Fowler. All right, I guess we'll just finish off January, just see how this last game against Winnipeg goes. But yeah, this has been An ugly season so far. All right, there you go. There's a 5-2 win against Winnipeg, but yikes. This really has not gone as expected. Wait a minute. Did we top 10 protect the pick that we traded for this year? I think we did. I think we did. Yeah, it was this pick, the one where we sent in the Sawatsky trade, right? Yeah, it's a really good thing that is top 10 protected, let me tell you. This season is not going well. I have a feeling that we're going to need that top 10 protected pick. It might very well go back to us if things continue as they've been going. Yeah, I mean, I think, do we just let the dust settle here? I mean, normally I would say yes, but the only thing is that was a pitiful month of January. Oh, okay, perfect. Ratcliffe is back. So you know what? Let's just see what happens now that Ratcliffe is back. We're still below the salary cap ceiling. All right, that's good. I was a little worried about that after we acquired Kyrou, but let's just see how we do. All right, let's just see how we do with Ratcliffe back in the lineup, because at this point we are now at full health. And if we still cannot string some wins together with this roster, then we're going to need to do something big at the trade deadline, whether that's making a huge trade or firing Guy Boucher, because this has not been a good season. Oh boy, Tomek is injured now. 2-3 weeks. Okay. So much for having a roster at full health. Ooh, Adam Bachquist injured, 2 to 3 months. All right, Tomek is back. Very good. We definitely missed him in that short span of time that he was out from the roster. All right, we are on March 1st. We are currently 31, 27, and 9, which puts us just barely outside of a wild card position. But you have to keep in mind that Florida, who also has 71 points, has 3 games in hand. Wait a minute, Jarosimiuk with the 8 games played, 946 save percentage. I mean, you know what? Like, at this point, I'll take whatever I can get in goal. And I would imagine, yeah, he's been playing most of the recent games. The past 5, he has been in the net. So I guess we just see what Jarosimiuk can do, because it really just comes down to goaltending, doesn't it? That has been the theme of this entire GM mode. Let's see where our team stats are at. 3.31 goals for per game. Goals against per game, much better. 19th in the league, 3.3. Faceoffs, we're 13th in the league with a 50.7. Power play, we are 17th in the league with a 19.6. And penalty kill, we are 21st in the league with a 79.1. And before we end things off, let's take a look at the rest of the player stats. Obviously, we know about Jarosimiuk with his 946. Boyko in 51 games played has an 896. That is just ugly. On defense, you have Fox with 54 points, 31 points for Willander and Bachquist, 30 for Matachuk, 14 for LeBray and Väisänen, and then 13 for O'Rourke. At forward, you have Nadeau with 65 points, Artamonov with 63. Then it drops off to Tomek with 38. Hedel with 37, 36 for Ryabkin and Kyrou, 35 for Sardarian, 27 for Marinochkin and Ratcliffe, 23 for Kakko, 14 for Suoniemi, 13 for Ovchinnikov, 12 for Yeko, and 8 for Ertel. So I think we're ended off here at the trade deadline. There's a lot to think about considering our situation. So I'll leave you guys off here. And the next one, we will get through the rest of the Year 7 simulation and hopefully into the playoffs.